Hey, I just wanted to give you some thoughts real quick, just off the top of my head, um, regarding Ben Sass. He just wrote an article in the New York Times. The conservative Christian guy, I think his name is Russ or Ross, in the New York Times. You have Liz Cheney. She's been writing Peter Meyer's Twitter feed, etc. He's a representative out of Michigan. The difference between them and Trump, and I know people say, Trump is a little narcissistic, he only thinks about himself. But the difference is, and I hope you understand this, Ben Sass hates you. Ben Sass hates me. That's the problem. Even before Trump, take Trump out of it. Ben Sass and the Republican Party's elite establishment, whatever you want to call them, right? Those who don't write in the New York Times and those who don't get the Washington Post and those who don't eat avocado toast or whatever. And I actually like avocado toast, really. I read about it and people were making fun of it. I never had it. I had it. I was like, oh, this is great. They hate you. This is what's amazing to me. And I don't know how to get this across, but even if you would say Trump is narcissistic and Trump is this and Trump is that, I don't believe he hates me. And the 75 million Americans or so that voted for him, that's the difference. It's not that everybody lines up and loves Trump's Twitter feed or loves when he says some uncouth things about people. It's that in all of his rage, in all of his anger, you never really walk away believing, oh, he internally hates me to his core. In fact, if anything, it's been proven that when Trump goes after somebody and attacks them viciously, and then, next week later they do something nice, he'll go, oh, I love that person. It's the greatest person in the world, right? You don't ever really feel Trump hates you. And that's why the left is intending on making him a racist and making him evil and making him is because they have convinced people, or they're trying to convince people that no, Trump really hates you. He's really doing all this evil stuff to you. And why us 75 million people that voted for him, or continue to vote for other people like Cruz or Hawley, even though you find them disdainful. And this message is like, particularly for someone like Ben Sass, right? I don't know Ben Sass. I might have shaken his hand, but I doubt it. I think Ben Sass hates us. He hates me. He doesn't even know who I am. At least I don't think he does. And he hates me. I think Liz Cheney hates me. If you notice when you listen to their arguments, it's always about the Constitution. Oh, we got to stand up for the flag, stand up for America. When is it about people, right? If they stood up and they actually made an argument and said Trump was hurting me as a person, or what happened in the Capitol hurted me down to the core, and you as an individual. But that's not their argument. They make arguments about pieces of ancient paper and an idea of America. And don't get me wrong, I'm a conservative. I understand about the Constitution and concepts and ideas and how important there are. But that's the difference. I believe, and I don't know, I think Mitch McConnell and Liz Cheney and Ben Sass and Mitt Romney, I don't believe they actually like me. I don't believe that if they came to my home, they would sit down and laugh and enjoy and just like me as a person. In contrast to Donald Trump, right? I actually believe if he came to my house, right, he'd sit there. It might be different for him, a different world. I mean, he's a billionaire. But I don't believe I would feel like he hates me. And in fact, when people meet him, people always say, when you meet Donald Trump, you say, man, he's personable. He doesn't hate me. And that's the difference. And that's what's so crazy is that Ben Cheney, I'm sorry, Ben Sass and Liz Cheney and these guys, I honestly believe this. They hate you. They despise you. And that's the difference. That's why people can ignore Trump's narcissism. You can ignore if he does things uncouth or if he seems about himself. Because I can deal with a person who loves themselves, who may be a bit narcissistic. I mean, you're running for president of the United States, for God's sakes. Every president, if you're a president, you're not narcissistic. What are you, right? To do that requires narcissism. I can deal with a narcissistic person. I can deal with Trump being about himself as long as I don't feel like he hates me to my core. And that's the difference. It's not, I honestly don't believe. I'm waiting for Ben Sasse or one of these people to give a talk or a speech that actually is about people. That they can actually go through and say, hey, this is Jane Doe in my district. And this is how Trump's rhetoric affected her personally. That'd be so much more effective. So much more effective. But they don't. And that's because they have no desire. They don't want you around. They don't want you in their air. They don't want you in their stores. They don't want you, if you've ever, I grew up with no money. If you grow up with no money, you quickly learn, like when you go to certain places, and they accommodate you, but they sort of shrug you off a little bit. That's what it's like. They don't want you anywhere near them. And that's why they are who they are. They want to hobnob with other elites from whatever party. And that's the most disgusting thing. That's the thing that just drives me crazy. Absolutely boggles my mind and angers me, right? And this is why I will never, ever trust them. Never trust them. This is Kevin Williamson from the National Review, or he used to be at the National Review. Remember, they tried to hire him at Atlantic, and they the employees threw a riot and kicked him out there, right? This is all of these guys. All of these guys. And it's amazing. When I was in high school and I was going to college and I was on track, and this is who I was like, I'm looking up to these guys. And when I was a kid, I remember this. I remember watching the news and going, oh my gosh. And then as you really begin to read, you realize they want you, Autry. You're black, you're smart, you're talented. They want you, but they want you to take you away from people. And so you can be with them. And then you run with them long enough, you can then look down your nose at other people. These people are disgusting. And that's why they don't get it. That's why they will be hated. That's why they won't be trusted. And that's why other people will choose Trump. It's not necessarily saying that Liz Cheney and Ben Sasse are always wrong, or what they say regarding the Constitution or their votes for wanting to impeach Trump or whatever. It's not saying that as a principal statement, they may not have some points, that the rhetoric of the president may need to be curbed, that as president, you need to be a little bit more aware. It's not that. What it is that they themselves don't like me. And so I have a choice. Do I choose President Trump, or even Rudy Giuliani, or Roger Stone, or some other characters who never exhibit ill will? Or do I choose these other characters who day after day, such as Bill Kristol, for a freaking example, or Michael Steele from the Lincoln Project, from day after day after day, every time I see them, they always seem to just shrug their nose. And I think Ben Sasse and Michael Steele, Liz Cheney, if you guys started really talking about people and showing that you actually cared for real everyday people, you actually might get more than just 3 or 4% of the 74 million people to agree with you. And what's crazy now is that polls are coming out, and polls are saying, there are tons of people that don't agree with Trump. He's lost 20% of the party. You walk around, people are like, I'm just saying whatever. People are saying whatever. People are saying whatever because they know Trump is now a lame duck. He's going to no longer be president. So people are saying whatever to just get on with their lives so you get out of their faces. But before, I had to take 10 minutes My heart was so broken. I had to take 10 minutes before I turned on this camera because I wanted to do it instantly right away to dry my face because I was like welling up with water. I was in tears actually because I realized that these people really hate you. And that's why they talk about papers and constitutions and oh, great statutes of America and rolling the founding fathers in the grave. Because Ben Sasse and Liz Cheney, they cannot relate to you. They have fooled a few people. Peter Meyer in Michigan has fooled a few people in his district. But I do not believe that they actually care. And this is the problem with the Republican Party. The Democrats has taken these few little people, Romneys of the world, for example. They've taken these few people and they've just sort of lambasted them and not lambasted them, but they put them up, and made them the Republican brand. You know, at least, listen, I have real disagreements with Meghan McCain. But if you listen to her talk, at least you feel she cares about you. That's the difference. People have said, oh, why don't some Republicans go more after Meghan McCain? She's on The View. She's clearly a never Trump, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's because when you listen to Meghan, yeah, she hates Trump. She doesn't like me. And she grew up in an establishment family, clearly, right? But for some reason, you feel that she likes you. I met Meghan McCain, I believe was it Hofstra University at a radio conference when she had first gotten a radio show. I was a host at the time as well, and I was at this conference and I met her. And I felt she actually liked me. I met Sean Hannity several times, and Sean Hannity is a great, great human being. And when you meet him, you feel like, oh, he cares about you as a person. It's crazy that you feel that way, but you do. And it's genuine. And that's the difference. And so for those of you, Ben Sasse, Liz Cheney, you think we're all crazy. You think Mitt Romney, this is for you too. And you think we're all idiots. You think, oh, but I will tell you why. We will always take the Sean Hannitys of the world. We'll always take the Rush Limbaughs of the world and the Donald Trumps of the world and Hawleys of the world and Cruz of the world and Rand Pauls of the world. Because when you meet them, you actually feel and know they love you. They care about you as an individual. And all you guys care about is dead people in a grave that died in the late 1700s or pieces of paper written 400 years ago. That's the difference. And that's why you will always be rejected by the grassroots.